For more on reaction from Congress, we can speak now to Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He sits on the Foreign Affairs Committee. He's joining us from his district in Illinois. Thanks very much for joining us, Congressman. I get the point about putting America's interests first, and you have said that you side with the president in supporting the relationship with Saudi Arabia. But is there growing concern in Congress that actually perhaps Mohammed bin Salman is not the best person for the United States to be backing? He has bungled the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, and the war in Yemen is going on for a long time, and civilians are being killed, and America is being implicated. Is that the right person right now for America to be backing? Forget values and interests. This might be a question of competence, mightn't it?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think there's definitely the conversations in Congress. I don't necessarily share all of that concern. I mean, here's what we have to do. We have to look at how the world is. We have to look at how people think differently. If you're not a Western civilization like the UK or the United States, they wage war very barbarically and very differently. You also have to look at, as terrible as this murder is, and it's terrible, and I don't want to cover that over or anything like that. It's awful. But there are 500,000 people that are dead in Syria that Russia and Iran have emboldened the regime to kill. You look at the people that were killed on UK soil by Russian weapons of mass destruction. You look at the invasion of Ukraine, the occupation of Georgia. You look at the journalists that are killed in Moscow seemingly on a daily basis, although not that much. This is a bad world. And if we go to a point, for whatever reason, in Congress, some of the far left and far right have always had this thing against Saudi Arabia, and I think they're using, as terrible as this is, it's terrible, but as an opportunity to fundamentally realign America's interests, and I don't think that's the right thing to do.
But Congressman, you say that you don't want to whitewash over what happened to Jamal Khashoggi, but doesn't this two-page statement from the White House effectively do that because it gives the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia a pass?
Yeah, I don't like the statement. I don't like the questioning the CIA and the intel report. Yeah, we can never know anything for certain short of a confession. That's how intelligence works. I believe our intelligence agencies. So I don't like what the statement says. But the result of the statement is what I think is the right thing to do in a very bad situation. I think it's just important for us. When you look at things and questions of foreign policy, as you know very well, it's not as easy as one country did a bad thing, so let's basically cut off a relationship with that country, because there's dominoes that fall all over the place. And unless we want to side with Iran, and I can point to you many, many egregious acts by Iran, including threatening Israel, including folks that are dead in Syria today because of their terrible behavior, we have to do this cautiously. Don't like the statement, but I do like the result.
Congressman, you've very eloquently put the realpolitik of this, and a lot of people will agree with you. And it is ironic, of course, that Mike Pompeo is standing next to the Turkish foreign minister. Turkey, hardly a country with a good record of protecting journalists. But I just wonder whether the statement does really speak of America first, because from this side, in reading it, and I've read it twice now, I think it makes America look weak.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. I don't know if it makes us look weak, but I think part of an American first agenda in foreign policy is our belief in human rights, our belief in the value of individuals, whether they're in the United States, in the UK, or anywhere else. And in many cases, our foreign policy reflects that. Now, we can't engage where there's a terrible thing happening. We know that. We see what happened in Rwanda in the 90s, and that's our big regret, I think, by not intervening there. And so I think in areas where we're not going to necessarily intervene or sanction or make big actions, it's important to be clear in our speech. And I think that's where the president and the White House fell short in the statement. They should make it very clear. There should be a page and a half of making it clear how terrible this is, how unacceptable this is, and then a half page of saying, however, in light of the alternatives, this is our best pick.
Yeah. Good point.
Congressman Adam Kinzinger there joining us from Illinois. Thank you very